Happy New Year, SynGAP land. My name is Mike Graglia. This is episode 193 of the Cure SynGAP 1 podcast. Today is Friday, January 2nd, the year 2026, the first week of the year. Like clockwork, the Cure SynGAP 1 team, in partnership with the SynGAP Global Network, has put out the SynGAP census. We are aware of 1,707 patients around the world with SynGAP-related disorder. This number is too low. There are countries where the number has not changed for many, many quarters, which sort of blows my mind, but I'm not going to dwell on that. And there's obviously families who get diagnosed and don't reach out to us because they are in grief and they are struggling with acceptance. To those families, please reach out to us. Let us help you. There's a lot of useful and helpful information that we can give you. But to everybody who's paying attention, 1,707, in spite of all of the limitations in the countries where we don't even have reports, the number keeps going up. There are patients. They do need your help. Let's work on curing SynGAP 1. I mentioned in a previous podcast that Cantor did an equity research report on Camp 4. And as part of their diligence on Camp 4 and SynGAP 1, because Camp 4 is basically focused on SynGAP 1 right now, they came to our Cure SynGAP 1 conference. And I talked about what a great equity research report that was, and I encourage people to get their hands on it and read it. But I want to emphasize one thing that I didn't talk about before, and that was what they called out. And I'm just going to read to you one paragraph from their report. The Stockdale Paradox. The best way to succinctly describe Camp 4 and the parties driving progress in this field, Cure SynGAP 1 Families Researchers, is for anyone familiar with Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. They have fully embraced the Stockdale Paradox. To succeed in difficult circumstances, you must 1. Confront the brutal facts, severity of disorder, devastating impact on patients and families, lack of treatment, and 2, while maintaining unwavering faith that you can and will prevail in the end. Cantor goes on to say, it gives us conviction that there will be a therapy approved for SynGAP sooner than later, and that Camp will most likely deliver it. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. I mean, these guys who write equity research reports are paid really well. It's highly competitive. They're not dummies. And they sat in a room with Cure SynGAP 1 and everybody who came to our conference, and they were like, wait, this feels like the Stockdale Paradox from Jim Collins' book. If you're unfamiliar with Stockdale and what he went through and where that comes from, I encourage you to go to Jim Collins' site. He talks about the concept of the Stockdale Paradox. Please read it. But this is a great thing to kick off 2026 with, because it really captures what we as a community are doing. We're looking reality in the face. This isn't great. And we're saying we're going to win. And whatever it takes, we're going to do it. And no matter how many people tell us that we're not ready, to be patient, that it's not going to happen, it's really hard, we don't have enough, whatever. We're going to smile, we're going to nod, we're going to ignore them, and we're going to keep marching forward. And I'm going to give you, and I can give you many examples of how Cure SynGAP 1 has done that over the years and how we have pushed forward. But instead, I'm going to just talk about what SynGAP 1 Argentina did at our conference, because it was really cool. So SynGAP 1 Argentina, great country, amazing, you should go. But they don't have a large patient population, right? They got like 20-something patients. And 2 years ago, they came to our conference and they're like, Mike, how do we get clinical trials in Argentina? I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get clinical trials in the US. I don't know, but I'm glad you're here. Last year they came, Mike, how are we going to get clinical trials in Argentina? I'm like, guys, I love you. I love that you fly up for our conference. I think you're amazing. I don't know how to help you in Argentina. I'm still fighting the fight here. This year they come up. Guess what they said? Mike, how do we get clinical trials in Argentina? I'm like, I don't know, but let's do it, because I feel like I'm about to get clinical trials here. How are we going to do it? And they take out this flyer. It's a beautiful flyer, 2 pages, very colorful, well printed. And on one side, it has the list of their doctor, and it says, we have clinical trial experts, and we want trials in Argentina. And on the other side, it lists their 22 patients and the specific genetic mutation for every single one. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. And they walked around and they showed it to Camp 4 and they showed it to the other companies who were there. And they're like, we have 22 patients in Argentina. We have great neurologists in Argentina. We want a clinical trial in Argentina. And one company looked at that and was like, wow, and you flew here? And that company, I am told, has since had meetings with the people in Argentina and may or may not choose to have a clinical trial site in Argentina. That's the Stockdale Paradox, right? They're sitting in Argentina. Most people do not start clinical trials in Argentina. They start in the US, they start in Europe, they start in the UK, Australia. And the Argentines are like, no, That's not acceptable. That, by the way, was not an attempt at an Argentine accent. I don't know what that voice was that I just used. And hi, Tony. You would like some more time on your iPad? Let me help you with that. This is Tony. He would like some time on his iPad. Tony, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Do you want to say Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
What are you doing today, Tony? Anything fun? Love you. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh, the Argentines were like, not acceptable. We want trials in our country. And they showed up and they put 22 patients down and they listed their mutation and they said, we know where these patients are, we know who these patients are, and these patients are ready for clinical trials. And I got to tell you guys, that is setting the bar. There are other countries, and I'm not going to name names, where they've put all their data in registries, but when industry asks them for data, they have meetings and they have agreements and they take their sweet time to not answer the question. Whereas the Argentines are like, we're here, this is our data, we know our patients want trials, and that gets industry's attention. So the Stockdale Paradox is how we at Cure SynGAP 1 have been doing business for years. It is how the Argentines are doing business, and I will argue that the people who are saying, I'm not interested in what I can't do. I'm not interested in the rules you think I should follow. I am interested in getting trials for my kids. And if you are not here to help me get medicines for my kids, get out of my way. That's sort of rhymes with the Stockdale Paradox. Call it the Grolier mantra. Help me or get out of my way. Because the only thing I care about is better medicines for our children. And that is what we are all about here at Cure SynGAP 1. So, read about the Stockdale Paradox. Understand that's how we do business, and then come and help us. It's going to be an incredibly exciting year. I want to make 3 more points. First point is that PubMed, which is a listing of all the publications in the sciences, had 59 publications for SynGAP 1 last year. That's 4 better than our best year ever, and that's 177 since 2022. And that means that half of the knowledge, if we use papers as a proxy for the knowledge about SynGAP 1, and they're a lagging indicator, but it's what we've got. 177 papers have been written since 2022 out of a total of 366, which is, give or take, about half. Half the knowledge about SynGAP 1 has been created in the past 4 years. That's amazing. And if you want to peek at the future, you look at the posters that came out at the conference. In a previous episode, I talked about how we had 16 posters at AAS, and I shared that in a LinkedIn post that you should all go to that LinkedIn post and liked it. And make sure you're following us on LinkedIn, please. And so many people responded that like, yeah, Mike, this is great, but you missed this poster and you missed this poster and you missed this. Actually, I missed 4 posters. And so we actually had 20 posters at AAS. Each of those posters, not all of them, but almost all of them, are going to end up as a publication. So hopefully for 2026, we're going to see more than 59 papers come out. Pretty exciting stuff. The last thing I want to say is I want to call out a LinkedIn post by somebody who did a podcast interview with Jeff Collar. This is crazy exciting. And Dr. Collar, who's an exceptional RNA expert at Hopkins and the head of I don't know how many RNA associations, but he's the man. And he's been working on SynGAP with our support for years. He talked about he was at a conference in Nashville and he was talking to a parent, and the parent rolled up her sleeve and she had a tattoo of her kid's mutation on her arm. And she said, I'm not reading this, so I might have it a little wrong. But basically, she said, I don't know what this means, but someone told me it was important, and I want you to see it. Can your technology help my kid? I'm pretty sure I know who that mom was. And I will share the link to that LinkedIn post. And I'm pretty sure it was the SynGAP conference, although I could be wrong. Who knows? But guys, that's what we're talking about here, right? This mom was like, this mutation is important. I don't know what these letters and greater than signs mean, but I'm going to put this mutation on my arm and I'm going to carry it around. And at the right time, she rolled up her sleeve and talked to Professor Jeff Collar, who is one of the giants in the space. That's why SynGAP 1 is going to succeed. That's why we're going to kill it in 2026, because our parents will do anything to help their beautiful children, no matter what. So Happy New Year. Buckle up. It's going to be a crazy ride. It's going to be a crazy ride, and we are going to move mountains this year. Just like the Argentinians have moved mountains, we are going to show up, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get better medicines for our children. I look forward to talking to you guys again in a week. Please give me feedback, comments in the YouTube, on the LinkedIn. Have a great week.